extremely pleased to introduce to you Congressman Michael Capuano, who is the congressman for Cambridge, Massachusetts. He's our host here. And I just tell you a little bit about him, but very, very little. He told me to cut it in half, and then he said, no, cut it by a quarter. So I shall do approximately that. We're tremendously proud and grateful to him for coming, not only because he is the congressman for where we are, and therefore our representative in the House of Representatives. He's also a member of the Americans Abroad Caucus, which means that he is aware of and sympathetic to about the issues that are of concern to all of you. He also sits on his committees on the financial services, the transportation and infrastructure committees, and on the Committee on House Administration, which is, anybody who reads my bulletins knows, is the committee that's responsible for election reform. Like, I think most of his colleagues in Washington, this week he's really concentrating on healthcare reform, but he has other things on his mind as well, and I will now cut it really short. He's got a family waiting for him. I'd like for him to speak to you, and he does say that he'll answer a few questions afterwards.
I've never been applauded for being a member of a caucus before. First of all, welcome to Boston for those of you who it's the first time, and for those of you who are revisiting us, welcome back. And for those of you who call this home, well, thank you. I'm only going to speak for a minute, and then I'm going to open up for questions. I apologize, I generally don't like using podiums, but I think in this room it probably is a necessary fact of life. That's correct. What we're doing is healthcare now. Healthcare is the issue of the moment, and it will be for the next week or two. And I don't know what the outcome is going to be. I have no idea what the outcome is going to be. And I think that anybody who says they do is probably either optimistic one way or the other, or pessimistic one way or the other. It is a major focus of debate for lots of different reasons, and everybody sees it differently. I am in the middle of trying to figure out how I want to vote, mostly for local reasons. And I say that because the great social issues, I am as progressive as you can get on pretty much every issue you can find. The only place I am not progressive, or not liberal, I guess I should say, is on fiscal responsibility. I do believe in balanced budgets, and I do believe in getting rid of our deficit. And it's not because I don't want programs, it's because I want to tell you the truth. I want the social programs. I want a strong defense. I want all the things we have, but I also think it's incumbent upon us to pay for them. And if you don't want to pay for them, you can't have them. Well, I don't know if the applause is for the fiscal conservatism or the social progressiveness, but I'll take it for both. But on healthcare, it's no different. Healthcare is an expensive proposition no matter how you look at it. Anybody who tells you they can make it cheap means they want to make it cheap for you, not for themselves. I want healthcare to be expensive. You know why? I want the best educated doctors in the world. I want the best educated nurses. I want the best janitors I can get to make sure I don't get a staph infection in the hospital. I want the research that they bring us so that it can give me the drugs that I need to fix the things that are wrong with me and my family. So healthcare will always be expensive. And anybody here who doesn't want the most improved MRI or doesn't want a drug to take care of cancer, fine. That means healthcare will be cheap for you. But I'm not going to let you deny the things that we want for me and others. So healthcare can't be cheap. It can be more efficient, and it can be more equitable. That, to me, is the goal. People should not have to go without health insurance. It's not good for them. And by the way, most people who follow this issue at all, you know you're already paying for them. Yeah. When an uninsured person walks into the emergency room at Boston Medical Center, no more than probably half a mile from here, they don't get turned away. You pay for it in your health insurance rates. And that's true pretty much all across the country, and I think that's the way you want it. And for anybody who considers themselves tough, fiscally responsible, and against the healthcare, then I challenge you, while you're in Boston, Boston Medical Center, as I said, about half a mile from here is the hospital that services most of our uninsured people in Boston. You go sit in the emergency room. You do it. For no more than an hour, any day of the week, any time of the day. And you sit there and you decide who should not be served. Which child who walks through that door should walk out without health care? Which senior citizen should walk out without health care? If you can do that, fine, I respect it. I can't. And I won't. And I don't want to live in a society that does. So that's what the debate's about. But yes, there is a fiscal side of that. If you want health care coverage for all, we have to pay for it. Yes, we do. It's not free. Now, I know everybody says, oh, cut the waste and fraud and abuse out of the system. You're not going to find anybody who doesn't agree with that, but I challenge you to find me that waste to that degree. It doesn't mean that everything's perfect. Of course it's not. It's not perfect in any business. Any job you've ever had, can you look me in the eye and say you did not walk home with a pad of paper that you shouldn't have? There's waste everywhere. The question is how much? Can it pay for what you want? The answer is no. We don't have that much waste in the system. And by the way, if your definition of waste is what other people get, what's new? That's my definition of good health care. Good health care is what I get. Wasteful health care is what you get. So you have to look at it that way. And I understand that there are differences of opinion. For me, I have additional concerns. It's because I come from Boston. Boston also happens to be a healthcare center of the world, actually. Up until 9/11, we used to have people from all around the world coming to Boston to get healthcare. Now, we still do, but that has been cut down because we're afraid they're all terrorists, which of course they're not, but that's a different debate. But we still have people coming from all over the world to get their health care here. We train the doctors for the rest of the country. So for people from the Midwest to say we need primary care docs, but Boston shouldn't get money, well then where do you think they're going to get trained? They can't all be trained in Caribbean hospitals. Some of them should be trained in high-end American hospitals. You want that to happen. So Boston has a little bit different view of it. Yes, we want the social aspects of it, but at the same time, I'm not going to vote for a bill. I cannot vote for a bill that then turns to places like Boston and New York and Philadelphia and the other healthcare centers in this country and say, you have to lose 10,000 jobs in order for us to provide healthcare for the people of Mississippi. By the way, the people of Massachusetts have already taken action to cover 97 to 98% of our constituents. And we're very proud of the experiment. And it is an experiment. Most of us know that even what we've done probably cannot be sustained without serious change to the entire system. We know that. But should we give that up? Should we give up the healthcare system that we've built up in order to help people from other regions who elect people who come to Washington who will not vote for that healthcare reform? It's kind of amazing. Now, I want to vote for healthcare reform, unlike others who don't. I respect that. But I can't do it if I honestly come to the conclusion that it's going to kill the greater Boston healthcare system. I can't do it. And I won't do it. That's the debate that I have amongst myself right now. I just came from a meeting right now with some of the most progressive healthcare providers in greater Boston. We had this discussion, trying to figure out exactly what this bill does. And don't make any mistakes about it. I've read every bill there has been. But for any of you who have ever read War and Peace, you know that you don't get it all even when you read it. You have to talk to other people and say, what did he mean by that? That Dostoevsky, he's kind of a complicated guy. And no matter how simple the book is, you have to think about it and take a step back and reflect upon it and pass your opinions amongst other people. That's what we have to do when it comes to healthcare.